Okay, YouTube, I am very happy to bring to you today the New King James Preaching Bible by Thomas Nelson. I have two of them here. One is the brown calfskin and the other is the black calfskin. Let's see here where to even begin with these. First, let's look at the box. They both come in a clamshell box, and some of the features on the back. These are verse-by-verse layout. They have each have 72 verse references. Classic two-color typesetting with line match. With line matching, it's 11.5 font with the comfort print. It says premium high contrast Bible paper. I certainly believe that. And it says calfskin binding with durable edge line construction. We'll talk about that in a minute. And 3 satin ribbon markers, and this is the single-sided satin ribbon, not a double-sided, but still just as beautiful in my opinion as a double satin. That makes no difference personally to me. So here we go. Let's look at them. First thing I want to note is the cover, or the covers of the Bible. Let's look first at the calfskin here with the brown one. The brown one, if you'll notice, is very smooth. I don't know if this is just my edition or if all the brown ones in the preaching Bible is like this. It's smooth. So if we look at the spine, it is there's no raised hubs, but you just have the gilt lines, Holy Bible, New King James, Thomas Nelson, right there. And they are in fact edge lined. So your liner runs right into the tab there. So there you have it. You have this beautiful, very, very beautiful covers. I love the way these covers feel in the hand. I like most, if you have a good leather and you put it on a Bible, they feel great. I love leather. I hardly own anything other than leather covers just because I liked the way a Bible feels, and I like leather. And these leathers do not disappoint. These calfskins feel great. And they are perimeter stitched. Let me get you a shot there. They're perimeter stitched all the way around. And you have gilting on the edges. Not art gilting, just regular gilting. You have 3 ribbons. Notice here. And again, I've said before, I love this blue color is awesome. I love that blue color. Blue, red, and brown on this one. And then on this calfskin, you have 3 ribbon markers, and it's the blue, red, and black. And so let's look now at this black one. Now notice the black calfskin has more of a pebbly grain to it. I have the Minister's Bible. The Minister's Bible is black, and it has the exact same pebble feel. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I have the Open Bible in brown calfskin, and the Open Bible is this color brown, but it's this exact same texture with this slight pebbly grain to it. So this is the only one I've seen in brown that's this smooth. It's not, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. It's just different. It's different. It almost feels a little squishier. But anyhow, they're both great Bibles. And notice the spine on the black one's just the same. You got the stamping, gold stamping there. And you have the gilting. Okay. And let's open it up. The black one. Perimeter stitched and edge lined. The one thing, and I'll just go ahead and say this, here's the only thing that I don't like about the Bible. And I'm just going to get that out of the way because I wouldn't change really anything about it. I wouldn't even change this about it either. But this liner here is the same as the end sheet. So this end sheet and this liner are the same. It's kind of like I don't know. I don't know what that's called. But you know what and it's a thick end sheet. The end sheet seems to be very, very tough. Seems like it's going to last a lifetime, and this will no doubt last a lifetime. But if you're just one of those people that, you have a Bible and you just want to squish, you want to grab the cover and you want to squish it up and then flatten it back out, this one's it's gonna crease because this is kind of like I don't know, it's a material like an end sheet. So you don't want to do that to these, which is not a big deal. Like I said, I don't walk around crinkling up the covers of my Bibles unless I'm doing that on a review, really. So we'll just look at the brown one because this is the one that I preached in. So we'll open up the brown one. If I can get this one in the shot in some way, just so it will be there. We'll look at the brown one. and go over the features on the inside, because that's what you're getting. First off, I want to say that this Bible, this preaching Bible, and the minister's Bible, and the open Bible, those Bibles in the New King James by Thomas Nelson has really made me want to use the New King James. New King James Bible is not a translation I've used very often at all, but it is a translation that I am seriously considering lately as I've done more research on the translation, and because Thomas Nelson has such awesome offerings in their Bibles right now that I really like. So let's look at this specifically. With these things open up, I've used this one a few times. Okay, even this black one, I've not done really anything from this black one, but it opens flat straight away. Whoops, and I say that, and there it goes. It opens up flat straight away. These things lay flat, very, very great. I mean, they're just great lay flat Bibles, huge font. This brown one, I preached out of it with our sunrise service. And our sunrise service was Luke 24, and it was the first 12 verses. And let me show you how this is laid out. If you are someone who preaches or teaches, verse by verse can be very helpful. This is 11.5 font, and the verse numbers are in a different color. It's in this blue color that you see here. The books of the Bible are in this blue, your subheadings are in blue, and your verse numbers are in this blue. I say blue, it's like a blue-green color. And it's not so light that it looks funny. It's just a really, really pretty color. I like it. And then also you'll notice in the references at the bottom that these right here are in the light blue as well. So you have this break of color in the page, which I think is pleasing to the eye, but it's also very helpful as far as finding your place. So not only do I think the font size is awesome, I mean, it is a large font. The font size is great. I love the boldness of the comfort print. The comfort print, specifically in the New King James, has this really dark, bold print against this beautiful 36 GSM paper that is very white, and it works perfect together. There's ghosting. It's a Bible, and because it's a Bible, you have to have somewhat thinner paper, even 36 GSM. That's, when you consider copy paper or a regular book paper, it's a little bit thinner. But 36 GSM, ghosting is a non-issue. I do not notice ghosting at all. Let's go to some poetry to kind of prove that to you. Here we go. Here's the Psalms. Here's a look at the poetry. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. So this Bible is laid out for preaching in mind. I mean, that's what it's laid out to do. So it's printed in China. Again, there's been a lot of Chinese printings with Thomas Nelson that I've looked at. That's been great. I mean, you wouldn't know that it was. You think of Chinese printing, sometimes you have a bad taste in your mouth, but this stuff is, it's just as good as anything I've seen. It's really great. So you have the Old Testament, you get right into the book of Genesis, and then notice the book titles here. It says the first book of Moses called Genesis, and you have your text. It's a 2-column, verse-by-verse layout with your references right at the bottom. I personally like that they have references in this Bible. A lot of preachers aren't going to care so much if you have references or not. And I get that, because when you're preaching, a lot of times you're not looking for the references, or at least I don't. And a lot of preaching Bibles that I have used and seen do not have references in the Bible. For whatever reason, they just, they don't put them in there, which totally makes sense. It's fine. I personally like this one because whenever I'm preaching from a Bible, and I know I'm going to use that specific Bible to preach from, I have that Bible with me as I'm preparing my sermon. So as I'm preparing and I'm reading this verse, and I always look at multiple translations, and I cross-reference everything that I'm looking at. So I'll look at all my verses, and then I'll look at what the cross-reference says to see what all of Scripture is saying about this verse. So I like that the cross-references exist in this Bible. But that is all you're really getting. You're getting the double column verse by verse. You're getting all your references, which there's a lot of references. I love the New King James Version, how they put in italics the supplied words. I love that. That's not something that I'm used to, but I do like. This is a black letter text. There isn't any red letter in this edition here. And then as you approach the back here, you get to Revelation. We'll get to Revelation. Goodness. Here we go. So here's the end of Revelation, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of lined paper, and it's the same paper as the Bible paper. It's the same 36 GSM paper that has lines on it. And then a blank sheet here with a note regarding the type. And then you have just this one really thick end sheet. And then that's it. There are no, there's not a concordance, and there's not Bible maps in this edition, which totally cool with me. It makes it thinner. This Bible is somewhat thick. It's about an inch and 3/4 thick. So that's totally fine with me that they left that out. And then that's it right there. That's the whole Bible. Here's the ISBN number. Here we go for you to see. So, like I said, normally I preach from this Bible here. This is an ESV, okay, wide margin. And let me just kind of give you an idea of what the text looks like. I'm going to do, in the coming weeks here, I'm going to be looking at a bunch of different preaching Bibles and kind of my philosophy and my thought on preaching Bibles. That's just really personally for me, how I view them and how I use them. I do not and have not in the past used verse-by-verse Bibles to preach from. See, if you notice that this is the Crossways Heirloom Wide Margin Edition. This is a 9-point font, double column, but it's paragraph format. So your verse numbers are kind of hidden within the paragraphs there. I've always preached from paragraph formats. I've never really used a verse-by-verse format. However, Thomas Nelson, those guys over there were awesome enough to send me this Bible in time for sunrise service. And we do sunrise service out at a ball field, and we get there when it's still a little bit, kind of dark outside. And I was thinking, man, I need something a little bit bigger font than my ESV wide margin here, because it's rather small, and being outside, and we have a couple of different churches join up with us to do the sunrise service, and I didn't want to stumble in the dark with a smaller font. 9-point is fine with me. I like 9-point font, but being out in the dark, let me tell you something. You open up this Bible with that 11.5-point font and the verse by verse jumping out to you. There were a few verses that after I read the text, I was making some points, and then I'd go back and reread a specific verse, and I'd have to look down and find my place. And this Bible, I was able to do that very quickly. Better than any Bible that I've used as far as just looking down and finding my place. If you're a New King James person, you use New King James, you love New King James Bible, and you're a preacher or a Bible teacher, or just want a Bible with a big font. You don't have to be a preacher or teacher to get this Bible here. But let me tell you something. I do highly recommend this Bible. It is $139 retail. I believe you can find this online for around $85. Personally, I always have thoughts on Bibles. Like this Bible, for example, is $150. It's like $155. And this one, just based on this liner, this leather, the paper, the art gilding and stuff, all the things that make this Bible up, I think $150 for this Bible is worth it. I have some Bibles that the price point does not match the quality of the Bible. The price point for these Bibles are right on. They are absolutely right on. $85 for this Bible is the right price. That is the right price. In fact, if this went up to $100, $99.99, I would still say this Bible is a good price point. For $100, this is a $100 Bible all day long. It's awesome. And even if you subtract it, even if you just put a different kind of cover on here, the Bible is worth it because of the paper and the comfort print, which I am a big fan of. That 36 GSM, that font, this layout is great. And then when you add these calfskin covers in the mix, it's certainly worth $100. Now, here's one thing I would like to see in the future. I know that Thomas Nelson, they're always working on, and especially here recently, they've really been doing some new things, trying some new things, and they're really excited. Their team's really excited about it, which makes me excited about it. But here's one thing that I would love to see. First off, I hope they don't discontinue. Keep this Bible just as is. Keep it for a long time. Don't get rid of this exact layout. This is great. Love the leather. I love everything about it. Perhaps, I don't know about that liner. Maybe change that liner if you're going to change anything. But love it. Keep it. Keep it. Love it. Here's one thing I would love to see in the future. This exact page layout. Same paper. 36 GSM. Comfort print. But go from 11.5 to maybe a 10 font. Maybe a 10 point. And shrink your top and your bottom a little bit, and bring these in just a little bit. And I would even be okay with adding 1/4 of an inch just out this way and shrinking your text down a little bit, and give yourself at least an inch margin here and an inch here, and some maybe 3/4 of an inch here and here. Get a wide margin with this exact layout and just shrink the font back a little bit. And offer that in a wide margin edition along with this exact same edition here. That would be a winner for me. Of course, this one already is a winner. I have wide margin Bibles, but I write sermon notes in here, but to be completely honest, I don't really reference those notes a whole lot during my sermon. I use my tablet with all my notes in my tablet. Now, be looking for, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be making a preaching Bible kind of video where I talk about various Bibles and their application for preaching and teaching. I have a few that I'm getting. There's still one I'm waiting, 2 of them that I'm waiting to come in the mail, and then I'm going to just do one big video on preaching Bibles in general. Overall, I'm going to tell you this is probably the best preaching layout that I've seen. If it had the wider margins, had some place to write, it would be the best. The best. But the way it sits right now, great Bible. If you're an NKJV guy, check this out. You won't regret it. Have a good day, guys. Talk to you later. God bless.